all the knowledge, all the skill that have been training with you guys will be useful later on for the rest of my career.
Welcome back to our YouTube channel. My name is Tammo from Find a Job in Germany. Today I'm here with my former coachee, Quan. Hi, Quan. How are you today?
I'm very good. How are you, Tammo?
I'm also very good. Quan, maybe first introduce yourself. Who are you? What are you doing? And where are you right now?
So my name is Quan. I'm a full stack developer from Vietnam, and for now I'm living in Berlin. I moved to Berlin for since the beginning of June.
Cool. We met last year in 2023. I think in November we met. We started working together. You got a job offer this year in March, end of March, and now since beginning of June you're working and living in Berlin. First of all, why did you think moving to Germany is a good idea for you?
Oh, for me, it's a new adventure. Yeah, that's the correct words to describe it. And for me, I have been living in Vietnam for my entire life, so and really get used to it, really comfortable. I mean, it's really hard to expect. So yeah, just like taking on a venture into something that unknown, but it's also a chance for me to experience a completely different culture, completely different weather and everything.
Wow, and you also came here with your family, right? With your kids
Yeah.
and with your wife. So that's a pretty big step, in my opinion. For how many years did you work in Vietnam, and what kind of companies did you work for?
It's been 8 years. I work as a software developer in Vietnam, and for most of the time, I don't think I really have any favor in Vietnam. We most of the company is outsourcing, and
Mhm.
there's also a lot of product. But for me, I think half of the time I work at the product, and half of the time I work in the outsourcing company.
Yeah.
Actually, when I work, especially with the product company, I have the feeling that we have the much stronger ownership feeling with the product itself. So I believe that I can have an even stronger ownership feeling when I working on site. That's also one of the reason I moved to Germany.
And when did you develop this plan? So I thought we met end of last year, but since when did you seriously approach moving to Germany?
It's all start with a trip to Berlin in 2022. Like I told you, back then I've been living in Vietnam for my entire life. I had no idea where the rest of the world is like. Actually, I do because it's the age of internet, right? But to really live there is different. So I had a 2 week trip to Berlin. Well, of course, tourists has a very different perspective than the local, right? But it did change some of my view,
Mhm.
like how the weather is completely different, how the culture, the transportation is completely different. So that's where I decided maybe it's time for me to go out see the world. I only decided maybe I should move out of Vietnam for a few years or maybe permanently, depends. I haven't really think about moving to Germany yet, but then I do some research about visa process. I see that for me, the best country to move to is Germany.
Why? Why is it the best?
Oh,
Um,
because
relate.
I see that the visa process is easy for me in Germany. I
How long?
also doing research for another country like the UK or Canada because their English speaking country is much easier, right? But then the visa process doesn't really work for me.
Mhm.
The pay system, which I'm kind of overage for, that's the pay system.
Yeah. And what were your first steps then after thinking, yeah, I want to move to Germany?
Oh, then after that, I start learning German. Yeah, it took me quite some time. I believe it took me like 1 year to get a B1.
B1 in 1 year from Vietnam. That's pretty
Yeah,
fast.
yeah, I learned it in the online school. At first, I started with Duolingo because it is free. It had a big community. But actually, for me, I quickly get bored with Duolingo after like 2 weeks, if I remember correctly. And then I go buy an online course
Mhm.
and been following it until I reached B1 during my learning. And it at the start of 2023, I also start revamping my CV and submit to some companies, but I receive no call. So I also doing some research on YouTube, on Google, how to find job in Germany, and that's how I find a job in Germany.
What were your first impression when you found us? You can be honest.
If I was to be honest, wow, that guy charge a lot. That's a brutal, honest from my side.
And then what was the next thought?
But then since it took me like months and I landed no interviews at all, so I decided just to give a shot, get in contact with you guys. And then after I register, I had access to all the training courses. Then I realized that okay, this is going to be useful. Even if I succeed, I get in Germany, all the knowledge, all the skill that have been training with you guys will be useful later on for the rest of my career. So for me, I think it totally worth it. I mean,
Perfect.
knowledge is power, right?
And what were the first steps? What did we do together?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that. So after the initial call, then we started to revamping my CV again. And honestly, when I read my CV after revamping with you guys, I think it was completely different. So yeah, at first I just list what I had been doing, and that's all. But with all the CV writing skill that you guys taught me, I know how to write an attractive CV, but also keep it short, not
Mhm.
to overflow the reader. I mean the company with a very long CV that they won't read it at all.
And after we did your CV, then we started applying. What happened next?
Yeah, I remember that is something in November. Yeah, in November we started to redo my CV and then started applying. I believe it's in the start of December. Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of the low season,
Mhm.
so didn't receive much call either. So I so for me that is rather discouraging. But but after the holiday is over, everything back on track, and I start receive a lot of call again. So until I had my first job offer in March, end of March, I don't really remember the exact day, but end of March, and then with that job offer, I started my visa process. In Vietnam, the visa process it doesn't take long, so I think I'm lucky to be in Vietnam. I heard that some other people in India or in Pakistan, they have a very long visa process time. But for me, I think it's only took me 3 weeks to secure my visa. So
Mhm.
I applied something somewhere in start of April and I
Mhm.
got my visa in start of May.
That's really fast. In India and Pakistan, it's also fast. In some African countries, it's really slow at the moment,
Oh,
unfortunately. But that's fast. So you got it in like 3 weeks and got the visa after you got the offer. You applied for your visa, 3 weeks, you had your visa, all good. But tell me, first of all, tell me about the interview process. How was that? How did the interview process go with the companies, and what did we do together? And what advice could you give to other software engineers who are interviewing with German companies?
the interview process in Germany, from my experience, is actually they pretty much like in Vietnam. I think it's kind of the same everywhere because software engineering is a very international career, right? So in most of my interview, I get an email say that they want to interview me, and then I have the first call with the HR route. Maybe I can call it kind of like another screening round. So I just get talk to the HR. They give me some basic information about the company, and I also talk to them, give them some information about me. Then usually they will send me a test to take home, and then give me some time to do it. After I finish this, it's time to enter the tech route. So depend on the tech route, some some interviewers will ask me again about my take home exercise, but some interviewers they will interview on a completely different topic. But either way, after the interview round, I have another round with the manager or the stakeholder, depend on the company. But the overall topic of this round is more about the culture fit. So after all, for a software engineer, the knowledge is very important. But so after all, we are college. We have to work with each other, and so it's better that we work with someone we like. It's
So you
more like
mean engaging with the interviewer, understanding the interviewer, and being on the same page with the
yeah,
interviewer, have a good communication is very important, especially for the later rounds, right?
yeah.
And regarding the tech stack, I mean, you're a full stack engineer, but your sweet spot, I would say, is JavaScript, right? You're best in JavaScript. What advice would you give on the technical side? What was important for you when it comes to coding, and take-home assignments?
Oh, for me, I would say yes. We even though it is a take-home assignment, we have to take it very seriously, as if we are writing a real application. And I even make a pipeline for it. So I have a live demo for them. So the interviewer can have a look at my code easily. So yeah, we have to show the interviewer that we are really serious about this interview. Yeah,
So giving a complete solution and maybe also overperforming a little bit and making it easy to understand for the person who reviews your code, right?
exactly. That's also a way that's to show that we respect the company, the hiring manager.
Then, I mean, you had interviews with companies, you get your offer. How did you feel then when you got your offer?
Well, of course, I'm happy, very happy, because actually it's one of the hardest job campaign I have ever done in my life. For me, in the same country, it should be easy, right? But then for another country, it's completely different. I don't know. Well, to be brutally honest, I don't know who they are and they don't know who I am. I am just an Vietnamese who live 10,000 kilometers from them. So they have to take a leap of faith to hire me.
Mm.
And I also the same. So happy, but also very nervous as well. And but since I already had a job offer, then I just go with it. Start with the visa process and start with the moving.
That's good. I mean, you're completely right. The complete interviews over video call, you haven't met in person. How was it then when you met your teammates for the first time in person in Berlin? Was it different, like over Zoom?
Actually, actually, that's really different. And sometimes I feel at peace and at easy or very comfortable with them as well, because uh, coming from another country, everything is strange. The call is actually the most familiar part because I met them in Zoom. I did interviews with them.
That's that's true. You feels like you already know each other, and you
Yeah,
somehow do
exactly.
as well.
It's
Um,
good to meet someone already know in a strange city.
and Tammy, in the second part of our interview, we're going to talk more about how it is to work in Germany. But regarding the interview process with German companies, what other advice would you give to software engineers who are also planning to move to Germany? Is there any advice you could give them or anything we didn't talk about yet already?
Oh, so my first number one advice is use the best English you got.
Mm,
Because so for me, I'm a Vietnamese and they are German or maybe another country for another country, but most of the time English is not their native language and neither am I.
mm,
So I have to speak very loud, very clearly, very much more louder than my
mm,
usual talk and also much slower. So in other words, use my best English so avoid any miscommunication.
mm,
Oh yeah, it was, and also we don't afraid of making small talk with them.
mm.
Like, after all, they are looking for some people who they will be working with for a long time, so they have to feel comfortable with you. They have to feel, how to say, safe.
Yeah,
Don't afraid of making small talk. Actually, small talking is what is the best we can do to connect with the interviewer more. Therefore, we can pass the interview easier. Yeah,
yeah.
that's my experience.
And yeah, you're completely right about the communication and the small talk thing as well. And also, you need to feel comfortable with them, right? That's also one thing. Okay, cool. Anything else?
Every engineer, they already have the required skill, right? So there's shouldn't be problem. But another, the last thing is, I think, well, just don't give up. It's
Mhm,
hard because let's say we are from one country and want to apply job for another country, so it's going to be hard.
mhm.
Sometimes it can be discouraging, like me, but don't give up.
Yeah, very good. Good words, and I can't also just emphasize on that a lot. Be persistent, don't give up. Yeah, approach this strategically, and then it will work out sooner or later. This is what you can be sure about. Thanks, Quan, for those insights. Really helpful, really insightful. And if you're also watching, you are a software engineer, you're working in tech and IT, you want to apply for a job in Germany, watch our video training, which you find below this video. Understand how we work, then book a get to know call. If you have good chances to land a job in Germany, we're going to work with you and help you to land one of those offers soon as well. Many thanks for watching. Auf Wiedersehen and bye bye.